Beautiful people, today we are ranking every single formation in FC 26, and in Ultimate Team, there are 29 official formations. As per usual, we have broken rank 1 foot champs debatable in the pine. And just before we begin, I have two questions. Number 1, what formations are you currently playing? And then number 2, and we're working on a video around playstyles. I'd love to use your opinions. I will take your comments and insert those into the playstyle production. 3-1-4-2. You're just trying to stand out. You're trying to be different. I'm not going to get on board and bandwagon a bunch of 3 at the backs. A lot of you are struggling with defending. Having a 3 at the back is not going to increase your clean sheets. I mean that with love and respect. 3-4-1-2, which might feel more natural, and you will score goals, but again, you're going to get torched, terrorized on the counter. We'll put that into debatable. 3-4-2-1, I'm going to the pine. I don't love that setup with the 2 cams and the striker. I don't feel that I'm getting this max benefit this year in particular. It could just be me. 3-4-3, every year I look at it, I stare it down face to face, and you might notice the sunglasses. Can I get a hashtag organics? This formation does not flow in-game. Defensively, offensively, the rotations, the transitions, I don't like it. 3-5-2, the best of the bunch without a doubt. You can clog the middle. You're still going to leave the wings wide open on the defensive end, but you do have good spacing, and that trifecta of doom up top with that triangle, highly dangerous on the counters. 4-1-2-1-2. The initial with the left mid and the right mid. Get you through a weekend league if you like, but I want to focus on the 4-1-2-1-2, the second variation, which goes into rank 1. Beautiful counterattacks. You could sit deep. I call it a bend but don't break formation. I find pressuring out of this formation to be quite difficult. You don't have the width. However, I'm not conceding a bunch of goals out wide. 4-1-3-2, which is sort of the not as effective ratty cousin to the 4-2-1-3. I'll toss it into a debatable, but if you're going to go with this approach, there are better formations to execute in this procedure. Apparently, we're going to the doctor office. 4-1-4-1. Amazing, incredible. Insert superlatives here. Absolutely broken. You have that defensive duty, and the way that the midfielders interject and they play nicely, there's a synergy. I can get down with it. I'm seeing this used at high levels of division rivals. You're going to see it plenty over the course of weekends. Pros are using it in qualifiers. This formation is a focal point. 4-2-1-3. As much as I'd love to give negative media attention to the 4-2-1-3 because I dislike the anti-football that this produces, where it's 6 at the back and then you counter immediately and a bunch of AI defending. The effectiveness is undeniable. It's frustrating, and I hope that EA drops some sort of patch nerfing this formation, but it has to be broken. So here we are. 4-2-2-2, another foundational. Always call this the engineering formation because you might lose out on some creativity, but it all makes sense logically, pragmatic. You position this player here, he chases back there, you got 2 holding midfielders. You can make this very offensive, much more balanced. It can play defensively, you can look for the counters. The spacing makes sense. 4-2-3-1. We're going to start out with the 3 center attacking midfielders, even though they do play more or less like wingers or outside midfielders. I'll take the OG to rank 1, and in a surprising, potentially hot take, the 4-2-3-1 second variation, which has more width, always more defensive. I'm taking it all the way up to broken because I've seen what it can accomplish this year, especially in higher divisions, but I'd like to insert a caveat around this formation in particular. Either variant, you need premium players if you want to have the offensive interjunction or intertrajectory, or I'm making up words. Can I get a hashtag organics? I see so many people offering tactics and the pros that are using these formations, but they have the most top tier players you could imagine. 4-2-4, I'm enjoying it. I don't know if it goes that much deeper. It's going to be chaos. You're going to score a lot of goals. You're going to concede plenty of goals. But many of you are already struggling on the defensive end, so you might as well just push the bodies forward and try to outscore the opposition. 4-3-1-2 is a worse version of a 4-1-2-1-2. If you're going for the narrow route, I'd rather have that holding mid. Just adds a little more of a dimension, but still good enough for the weekend without a doubt. The 4-3-2-1, I am downgrading to a debatable. I did not think we would see the day, but today is the day. 4-3-3s, quick fire. The baseline will go debatable. The 4-3-3-2, which has the 2 center mids and a holding mid, I'm going to upgrade. The 4-3-3-3, which has the 2 holding mids, quite frustrating to go up against, and for that reason also the weekend. And then the 4-3-3-4, which in some ways resembles or reminds me of the 4-2-4. I have put in way too many hours to this formation. Super enjoyable experience. You're gonna score a bunch of goals, but you have no midfield, no support. Everybody's pushing forward. You have been warned. If you're gonna play that style, this could work for you. Otherwise, maybe stay away, but I still like it enough to throw it into FUT Champs. 4-4-1-1, which comes highly regarded and recommended from yours truly. I've got it in rank 1. You can overwhelm in the midfield. It's just a matter of how you want your center attacking mid to play and whether you choose this formation or something similar. I've seen people go for more of a false 9 approach where you're just almost overloading the amount of central players that you have, and you always have the outlets if you choose to go to the wingers. 4-4-2, we'll start with the flat variation. OG, triple OG, I'd say broken. And even if you're using a team that is overpowered but maybe not as meta, you can do some things in this formation. Counterattacks, big steps, chase backs. I personally like how you offensively transition and you have the chase back. You could just challenge folks constant. It's aggressive if you want to play that way. Or it could sit deeper, which should lead me into the 4-4-2 second variation. Now you have 2 holding midfielders. You got box crashers. You're breaking out. Big shoulders, extra brawly. And some of you will prefer the defensive version of these 2 formations. So that preference is, of course, up to you. 4-5-1. On paper, it always looks nice. You see the attacking mids and the midfield and the width, and you say, maybe this can work. As soon as you go into a game, they're not positioned well, you have no midfield presence, and you get crushed. You get overran, and I don't think this formation does well against wide formations, narrow formations. No matter what, I felt like I was at a disadvantage, but it looks pretty on paper, but I would recommend staying away, which leads me into the 4-5-1 with the flat variation, and this formation gets busy. And again, you're overrunning, you're overwhelming, you're dictating, and you're dominating in the midfield. And that could be a key takeaway. What you do in the midfield is going to decide your results, whether that's the chase back or it's the offensive interpretation. I like what the 4-5-1, at least the second version, is bringing to the table. 5 at the backs, hand in the air. I'm never a fan. I'm not a big supporter. I like to be negative alongside using 5 at the back. And this year in particular, I don't think they're that effective anyway. We'll go 5-2-1-2, debatable. 5-2-3. There's no reason. You just get better results if you want to take a different tactical approach in another formation. You will deliver with higher levels of success rate. 5-3-2 also joining up in the pine, and the 5-4-1, which could be used to see out a game, hold some possession, we'll toss into the debatable. And that covers all 29 formations. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're brand new here, it is free to subscribe, and we'll have a lot more content coming out ASAP.